Welcome, everybody, to an all new Nomad Live. Guys, thank you for being here. Fair warning, guys, this is going to be a short show. We're going to turn this into our special guest, Alex Shapiro from NBC Sports Chicago. It's going to be the Alex Shapiro show real soon here. And we're going to let him do his things with his notes from training camp, and he's going to kind of give us a wrap up on how things went today at Hallis Hall and the day before and whatever else he has. So I'm super excited. And if someone can bring Triple R into the screen because I cannot see that man, I'm super excited, man. And I'm having a hard time like I was last week, and it's getting worse. I'm having a hard time resting. I'm busy in my mind because I'm so excited about this season. And I know it's warranted because I do my homework, as you guys know, and I'm studying, and I'm getting more and more excited by the day. I think this is going to be a long 40 days for me, man. How about you, Trip?
I'm just trying to take it one day at a time, enjoy the summer, because I know, when football season gets here, that means winter's coming, and I'm not a fan of winter anymore in my old age. So it's summertime. We're gonna enjoy the talking points. It's like, oh my God, the defense had a good day. That means our offense is horrible. As opposed to, well, maybe we got a good defense. I don't know. But none of those questions are going to be answered until the pads come on. So you got to strap it up and, do some meditation, do some yoga. But it's not going to happen for what, another 90 days, is it?
Well, it's about, something like that, 40. 40. I don't know how long after the 40 days. I think it'll be about a week before they get in the pads. But Alex can give us an update on that. I really don't know the information on that. But, man, I feel like a football player that's getting ready to go play some football. It's like I bleed football, man. This is what I do. I study football. I talk football. I'm a football head. I'm a junkie. And
who's sitting here talking to you with you?
I'm just excited, man. And right now I'm just all over the place because of the excitement. But we're about to turn this into my good friend from NBC Sports Chicago, our good friend of the show, Alex Shapiro. Turn this into the damn Alex Shapiro show right now, man.
What up, Alex?
Yo, I appreciate that. That's very kind. Thank you again for having me on. Let's be honest. This is Nomad Live, all Bears all the time. This is still the Nomad show. But I do appreciate you guys having me back. I had a lot of fun the first time I was on, so I'm happy to be here. I feel your excitement. We are just like you said, like a month and a half away from training camp. We got all the early summer stuff out of the way. The real stuff is coming soon. It's an exciting time. Of course it's exciting. I'm stoked. It's great.
It is real, man. I'm brimming, I'm bubbling over. And just for the sake of the fans, we are putting together a great intro for Mr. Shapiro because we do appreciate him coming on here and helping us out. It was not ready for this week. The next time Alex comes on the show, trust and believe he's going to have a hell of an intro when he comes on the show and gives us information. So, guys, be ready for that. Hey, Alex, I can't wait no more. I got to ask you some questions, man.
Let's do it.
Let's start with the basics. We had full. Everybody came. No, you didn't have anybody that was missing for camp. Am I right?
Correct. It was full attendance. Now there were some people who were hurt, like on the bikes. Jack Sanborn still on the bike. Who else was over there? Terrell Smith was out there on the bikes. Chase Allen. We did not see Darnell Mooney. Chase Claypool, would make an appearance on the sidelines. So those guys weren't participating, but they were in the building. Full attendance. Everybody that needed to be there was there. Nobody's getting fined for the Chicago Bears.
Did it feel like a wrap up OTA? Did it feel like they were intending to? We want to bring energy. We want to make this fast. We want to make this quick pace. We want to see what we have so far. Did it feel like that to you?
Yeah, today definitely. Today felt like a fast Friday, even though it was a Thursday. On Fridays, typically they shorten practice. They make it a little bit more intense, and just like you say, just kind of get in, get out, do the really important stuff. And that is what it felt like today. They did a good amount of special teams work. But they did a lot of team stuff and a lot of situational stuff, especially in the red zone. So they did a ton of red zone work today where it felt very focused. It felt very deliberate, but it wasn't like this long, grueling practice, if you can imagine. So it was kind of like the perfect way, in my opinion. If I was a player, that's probably how I would want to be sent off for summer break. Even though it's not much of a break, the guys are still doing work. For this little lull between minicamp and training camp.
Alex, how would you categorize this year's camp, OTAs versus last year's when it was, the first year of the, new regime?
Yeah, so there actually have been some changes. I would say the pace of it is still high. Like they're still moving and grooving in between periods, right? One period ends, it's not very long until another period begins. There's still a lot of high energy coaches, a lot of like, let's get this done now. You feel the intensity of practice still, but there have been a few changes, like taking run installs. They used to do that kind of at full speed. They have slowed that down to what they're calling a jog through pace, because they realize it's like, what are we doing? We're running around in t-shirts and shorts. We can't really block. We can't really do these things. So why don't we do this like kind of in between walkthrough thing where we can make sure we're getting our blocking scheme set perfectly, that we're getting on our run fills on defense set perfectly. So slowing those things down and being a little bit more deliberate, I think, the intention is, let's just get this really down when we're in this learning process here, where we know Flus likes get the track shoes on and we're going to be high intensity. But for moments like that, where, okay, let's actually, while we're in this learning phase of the off season, take it a little bit slower so that we're learning better. I'm a fan of that decision. I think it works. I think the players probably like it a lot too. So that has been one noticeable difference from this year compared to last year.
Cool.
Alex, full disclosure, and I feel like I have to say this every time we do a show because it's always somebody new watching and isn't familiar with Nomad or my history. I've never been a pro, but I have played college football, and I have an idea of what camps are like, especially these kinds of camps. And I know for a fact that those little camps like that are for installs and getting new players acclimated to the system. And then the veteran players come in a little bit later so that the new players get acclimated with the veterans. Did it feel that way to you? Am I on or am I off?
Yeah, no, that's kind of what I was getting at with that jog through speed. It's like, clearly while they're at that learning phase, while they're at that install phase, hey, let's make this little tweak so that the install itself goes more smoothly. Now, a lot of veterans were there, like we said, the entire team was there. But here's another change that, in terms of helping the players learn, in terms of getting the new guys up to speed, that I just thought of a new thing is the two fields type of deal. So what they've done is they used to really just practice on one field and have a lot of eyes, all the coaches kind of watching everything that's happening on that one field. This year, they've split it up. So they've got half the team on one field, half the team on another, so that more guys can get more reps. And then obviously it's just a bigger lift on the coaches later because obviously they're filming everything, they're taping everything. So for the coaches, they've got more film to review, but a lot more guys get more reps, so it's more opportunities to learn, more opportunities for young guys to develop. So that is another change that we've noticed in the effort of helping guys develop, in the effort of helping guys grow.
Gotcha. Before we get into the notes, the real notes that you have, give me a guy that you didn't expect to kind of poke out, that really poked out to you, even if it was just a little bit, but you just noticed them and you just couldn't stop thinking about it or something.
It's a good question. I don't remember if I brought this up last time, but it's the same guy. It's Velus Jones, actually. I think Velus Jones was kind of an afterthought for most people, especially when DJ Moore comes in town and then they draft Tyler Scott. But at this point in the year, I have noticed Velus Jones not only more involved in the offense, and I'm not just talking about the little out routes to just get the ball in his hands in space. I'm talking about slants. I'm talking about deep balls. He is doing more things than he was doing at this point last season, and he's catching the football. A lot of times last year, there a miscommunication or a misconnection, I should say, a misconnection for whatever reason, whether it's Velus isn't the right spot or Fields doesn't have that timing down just yet to get the ball into his hands. It looks a lot crisper now.
Right.
So that's one thing we're like, ooh, don't forget about Velus Jones, Alex, because this guy was still a third-round pick last year. Obviously, the Bears are not going to give up on him after just one season, where if he cleans up the special team stuff, and if that offseason really helped him get more comfortable in the offense so that he can take on a bigger role, like this guy is still a playmaker. We saw that on kickoffs. He was solid at kickoffs. That was a thing that he kind of like figured out in his rookie season when he, had a lot go wrong. But he really figured out the kickoff stuff, and he made some really impactful plays in that phase of the game. So if they can unlock more of that, we know this guy with the ball in his hands can make people miss. So that's one thing where, again, like Velus Jones was not on my radar, but I've continued to notice him as that early summer program went on.
Wow.
Okay, now the flip side of that coin, what player is not getting, let's say, first team reps that you would expect to get first team reps?
That is a good question. Not getting first team reps that I would expect to get first team reps. It is kind of tough. I don't know that there is one guy really. I think things are shaking out kind of the way I would expect. Maybe I'll say this. Equanimeous St. Brown, to me, is kind of falling down the pecking order, the way I see things. Because, like I mentioned, Velus is popping. Obviously, they want Tyler Scott involved. Now, Tyler Scott has had kind of a rocky road. There have been drops. There have been bobbles. It's not been the perfect start. Is it time to panic on Tyler Scott? Absolutely not. It's been 2 months. Give the rookie time, right? I'm not panicking. I'm not panicking on Tyler Scott, but I'm seeing Dante Pettis more involved in the pass game than I am seeing Equanimeous St. Brown involved. So as we look at that wide receiver room, it's like, okay, who's going to be the odd man out? Before I would have guessed, okay, if Velus can figure out special teams, maybe Dante Pettis is a little bit more expendable because Dante Pettis obviously was doing the punt return. That made him super valuable to the team. Now I'm like, ooh, Dante Pettis is still showing things. He's catching some deep balls. He's getting involved. I see the ball in his hands a lot. I'm not seeing that as much with Equanimeous St. Brown. And I saw Nick, the producer, in there saying, I heard Whitehair isn't the starting center. Nah, Whitehair is the starting center. They have worked in Lucas Patrick a little bit. They've given him some reps, but I think it's more they want to make sure that Lucas Patrick is good to go if they need him to be the backup, because they still haven't seen Lucas Patrick at center a whole lot. And it's pretty telling, Matt Eberflus, when asked about who's a starter, who's not, always plays very coy and is always like, it's a competition. There are guys involved. When asked about that center position, he just point blank said, yeah, Cody's the starting center and we are just putting Lucas in there to get some snaps. Which again, that to me, that's like, oh, wow. Normally you just say it's a competition, but he just put the stamp on it. And I think Cody Whitehair has actually been really solid. You can't judge pass pro. You can't judge run blocking at this time of the year. Like Triple R said at the very top of this show, they don't got pads on. So like we got to wait for the pads to come on to really judge the offensive line and defensive lines.
Yeah.
I was really worried about that dead snap, or not worried, but I was interested to see what that dead snap that he does looks like, where he kind of like grips the ball and flips it back. You know, it's kind of popular in college and he does it. A few other guys in the pros do it. I haven't really seen any bad snaps. I to the point where I stopped looking for it. Like for a couple of days, I was really dialed in. Hey, how many snaps is Cody Whitehair going to throw back there that are going to be like floppy ducks or whatever, or Justin's going to have to go out of his way to grab it? After a couple of days when it just looked rock solid, I stopped tuning in. So I think, until we see the pads come on, until we see the real pass pro stuff, Cody, for all intents and purposes, I believe, is the starting center.
I like it. I'm of the mind, and I've got the Valus Jones comment on my mind, and I've got the Dante Pettis thing on my mind. But Dante Pettis, I keep telling people, I think people gave he had a few drops last year and got a bad rap, but Dante Pettis consistently got open, man. Even when he was like the focal guy when guys got hurt, he got open. I mean, you can't sneeze at that. I mean, you're a talented wide receiver when when the defense knows that the ball is likely going to come to you, and you still find a way to get open and get space in between yourself and the DB. So it wouldn't surprise me one little bit if he made the team, and EQ did not make the team because he's better at getting separation than EQ. Yeah, EQ was here, I think, for continuity because he knew the offense and was getting everybody acclimated to that. Not to say that he didn't have any value outside of that. I think that was the main focus of keeping EQ on the team was continuity. We need somebody to show these guys the ropes, what to do, what the language is, and all that kind of stuff. So I thought that EQ's value was mostly there. Now that most of the guys, the key guys like Justin and some of the other guys have understanding of the offense, it doesn't surprise me to hear that he's falling down as far as his getting on the field and getting looks out there. I mean, he's probably going to fall on the depth chart, if not get cut. I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, there are better receivers on the team than EQ. I mean, but as far as Cody Whitehair goes, I do love the interior of what that looks like on paper. Whitehair, solid, great anchor. You know you're getting a solid lineman at center. You know you have Tevin Jenkins next to him, and you know you have Nate next to him. I love that for interior. If you get those two bookends to really play some ball this year and really, really step up in a way that you know that they are capable of, man, I think we're looking at a pretty solid offensive line. I'm not going to say they're going to be top 10 or anything like that. I'm not going to go that far. The only questions I have is, and I think Flus kind of alluded to that earlier. I think they have a swing guard, a swing center in Lucas Patrick, but I don't know if they know they have a swing tackle. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I asked that question to Matt Eberflus point blank today. Just who's the swing tackle and could it be Larry Borum? And he basically said, listen, this is going to be a really important summer for Larry Borum, and he's got work to do. He's got to work on his fitness. I think they have an ideal weight for him, and they're going to need him to get to that weight. He's going to need to show that he can move in space because that's what they really covet, right? They want big guys who can really move. And he's going to need to show them he can do that. But otherwise, that tackle position is awfully thin. Alex Leatherwood has been working primarily at guard. So that's kind of where I would see him. We have seen him working at guard more than at tackle. I actually can't even recall if we've seen him working at tackle. And then you've got a lot of developmental guys. You have a whole lot of developmental guys. So that's a real question. A, is Larry Borum your swing tackle? B, is the swing tackle even on the team right now? We've heard Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus be very frank about we're going to be active in free agency over the summer as we get ready for training camp. I would not be surprised if they add some extra offensive line guys because you're right. Like Lucas Patrick is there, but after Lucas Patrick, Jatiri Carter, he's super unproven and played 30 snaps or something as a rookie, and he's a 7th round draft pick. So I would not be surprised if they go out and get some sort of serviceable tackle similar to what they did with Riley Reif last season.
You know what? That wouldn't surprise me at all either. You know what? The Tyree Carter, I'm going when the pads go on it's going to be times where I'm not going to bug you, Alex, but I'm going to definitely put in my grocery list, and I'm going to be like, hey, can you please keep an eye on this person, that person, or that person, because I think it's going to come down to the depth chart. I think we all have a pretty good idea of who's going to be the starters on every at every position. It's about who's going to be the guys under the starters. I think that's going to be the question going into camp. Yeah, of course the running back battle, that's going to be probably the hottest battle in the camp, but the depth I think is more important than anything right now. I think we have solidified guys on both sides of the ball. I think it's about the depth, and I just can't wait. But however, I do have this video of Justin Fields. You and I talked about it a little bit before the show.
Wait, hold on, Nomad, real quick before we get too far away from it. We got a question from the chat from Drew. As far as Leatherwood goes, is he at left guard, right guard, or both?
I'll just say off the top of my head today, I remember specifically today, he was working left guard. Right guard has been Jatiri Carter. Trying to think, when Nate Davis wasn't here, it was Carter and Lucas Patrick who were switching off those first team reps before Nate Davis arrived at camp. So off the top of my head, it has been Jatiri Carter at right guard working with those 2s and 3s, and Leatherwood working left guard.
Okay, thanks.
Sure thing.
Okay, I heard the same thing. I like him playing that anywhere on the left side is appealing to my ear, because I think that's where he belongs. I think he's proven to me he's probably got no business being on the right side. His techniques and fundamentals aren't consistent over there. Not to say he can't play on the right side, but you just never saw the consistency. So it's reassuring to hear that he's on the other side of the ball. To me, that's where he belongs. But, whether it's at guard or a tackle, it doesn't matter to me. Just as long as he can, he can really excel as long as he's on the left side, I believe. So, but I do have this video of, and we talked about it before the show about Justin. Someone asked him about the connection with DJ Moore, and he said something specific in here. I want you to see if you can say something to this. Let's play the video real quick.
Details and stuff like that.
Have you been, I don't know if surprised is the right word, but it seems to our eye, the chemistry between you two came on really quickly. Was that about the speed you expected it to?
I mean, it did come quickly. I didn't really expect anything because it's different for each guy, but I feel like with DJ, it's, his body language is pretty easy to read. And really early on, we communicated on, how we want, each route trained and stuff like that. And of course, he's a lot of experience. He's been in the league for, a good period of time now. So, he's played a lot of football, so he knows, different coverages really well. That's one thing that I was kind of impressed about, like with the offense coming in and just, understanding, seeing coverages really well on short routes and stuff like that. So, he's been great, and, the chemistry has definitely picked up.
I wanted to expand on that thing about him DJ understanding defenses really well, and why it's important for a duo, a quarterback receiver duo, to get on the same page early. And he mentioned the choice routes and understanding defense. What I want to say to that is just to know what a choice route is when you go into when you make a call in the huddle, the guy has the call, the receiver has the call going to the line, and he's got the choice it's usually either a straight fly route, or you curl under, or you do a dig across or something like that. It's based on the coverage you're receiving. And that allows you to help the quarterback locate you. And he's talking about reading his body language and having an idea of what he's going to do on each play. So go ahead, Alex. I'm talking too much. Do you see that out there in training camp?
Well, here's what I can say. It's hard to really determine the choice route specifically, like his understanding of the leverage, his understanding of what the defense is doing, because we don't know what the calls are. Like I don't know what the calls are on defense. I don't know what the calls are on offense. So I don't know if the go route was a go route all the way, or if the go route was a choice. I don't know if he breaks it across the middle, if that's based on something he's seen in leverage. So from my position, that is kind of hard to determine. But here's what I will say. When I hear that, from Justin Fields. I believe it, especially the uptick in chemistry and how quick it's been, because we've seen it, honestly. The passing game at this point this year looks crisper than it did at this point last year. Now, that's not to say it's perfect, because there have been balls on the ground, there have been interceptions, there have been miscommunications, there's been all of that. That's not necessarily a bad thing. The guys are working it out. They're figuring out their communications. They're developing that rapport. So, like, I'm not worried about the interceptions. I'm not worried about the incompletions. But, like, last year, like, let's talk about Byron Pringle, for instance. It was clear that it took a while for Byron Pringle and Justin Fields to get anywhere close to the same page. They never got on the same page. Like, they did not connect very often in practice. Ball's going over his head, ball's going this way, he's going that way, things of that nature. With DJ Moore, it's like, oh no, they're just clicking. It looks different. It looks like a real passing attack. It looks like a real passing connection. And the playmaking ability is also, it's evident. Like, when he snaps off a route and he gets open. And again, so, like, from my perspective, it's hard to say, did he snap off that route and just really run it really well? He really, cut his feet, got open, and just beat his man? Or did he recognize something that Eddie Jackson was doing and then he made a decision? I don't know. But Justin Fields, I don't think Justin Fields would lie about that. I think, he probably brings that up probably because it's true. And the DJ Moore effect, I don't know. I'll just say, to me, it looks real. Like, this guy is making plays. The deep ball in particular looks so much better than it did at any point last season. We know Justin Fields is an excellent deep ball thrower, right? But they really weren't able to complete many of those for a variety of reasons. Guys aren't where they're supposed to be. Guys aren't creating the separation needed. So a defender is there to make a play, whatever, what have you. But the two of them they've come together for several chunk plays where, again, last year in June, last year in May, those balls were hitting the ground. And more often than not this year, I shouldn't say more often than not. More often, they're being completed for chunk plays, and very often it's DJ Moore on the receiving end of it.
Okay. Trip, you got anything?
No, we can keep moving.
Okay. I have another quick video. How about this? I'll just stop running my mouth and just play the video. And you tell me what you think on the other side of this.
Would rather have that other cornerback spot solidified sooner rather than later. What has Tyreek done to allow him to ascend to the top of that depth chart? And what does he need to do to stay there?
Yeah, just keep competing. Keep competing. We love where he is in terms of his length, his competitiveness, and we know he tackles. So he likes to hit. So that's why he's here. Corners need to tackle. They need to really be a physical force out there, and he's going to do that. And we're excited about that, getting the pads on. So I think he'll take even a step up more.
Uh-oh.
If there's a chance you guys get an edge rusher in the.
Oops. Sorry.
I can finish that quote for you. How about that?
Yeah.
And there's not much. There's not much more. I can finish that quote for you because I have the transcription up here right here. So he's basically saying, we're excited about that, getting the pads on. So I think he'll take even a step more when we get the pads on. We get to see him used to those pads. So That's kind of a weird sentence. I'm not sure if that transcription was perfect, but basically, like, yeah, he's looked good. He has competed. And when the pads come on, they're expecting him to look even better because he is a physical corner, right? That's what we know about him. He's big, he's fast, he's long. They really like his length, and they like the way he sticks his nose in there. So yeah, that was kind of the end of that Flus bite.
Did it sound to you like this is going into camp? This is looking like our starter?
Yeah, in my opinion, it is. I think that was always kind of the expectation. When you draft a guy that high, it was a position of need. I think Kindle Vildor played well. I think Jalen Jones played well. I think Josh Blackwell played well. Like, all three of those guys did a pretty solid job, given the circumstances or given whatever. But, I think getting a slam dunk, like I think adding competition to that room, and especially spending a high draft pick for that room, is obviously huge because it's a premium position. It allows Kyler Gordon to move to slot, et cetera, et cetera. So when they drafted Tyreek Stevenson, when they made that draft pick, I think I saw it happening that way, but they weren't going to give him the job. They were going to give Kindle Vildor a chance to hang on to that job since he played well. But Tyreek Stevenson so far has looked really good and has done the things to earn the reps with the ones. When we have seen him, largely he's blanketing guys. The things that we've been told, I notice, like his eyes to me are in the right spot. He's got this really good knack for recognizing when a play is going elsewhere, and he'll leave his man to make the play. Like he'll be following a guy in coverage, and he's like, oh, this guy's getting open in the flat, and that is where the ball is going right now. And he shows that ability to flow, to leave his man, to go to the guy in the flat for, what would be a 4-yard gain, making a good play, things of that nature. So yeah, I mean, the way things are trending, I would totally expect Tyreek Stevenson to be the starter week 1. Now, I will say there was one day he had a tough day. Like, he was getting cooked. We saw Tyler Scott beat him. We saw a few other guys beat him. Let me see if I can find it, because it was, Velus Jones beat him twice in a row. Tyler Scott got the better of him once. It was, not Tyreek Stevenson's best day at work, but like, whatever, that's going to happen. He's a rookie. He's going to get beat by veteran dudes from time to time. For the most part, I think he's been rock solid, and I think he's shown everything for the Bears to feel comfortable giving him more opportunities, more reps.
Well, number one, those two are going to beat the hell out of a whole bunch of people with that speed. Let's just put that out there. Number one, they're going to beat the shit out of excuse my language on Nomad Live, but they're going to beat the hell out of a whole bunch of people. That speed is real. I keep hearing about it. I see it. I've seen Velas's, but I haven't seen Tyler Scott's on video, but I know it's there. You know what I mean? I know it's there, and I know you guys can feel it out on the field, but I wouldn't hold that against them. They're going to beat a bunch of people like that. But Flus is an old ball coach is what he is. He's very, very old school, and I love that about him. You can tell when he's excited about somebody. When he started talking about Tyreek Stevenson in that detail and in that way, I felt like he was pretty much affirming what I thought everybody else thought of the situation. We're looking at a starter. That dude's going to take his lumps because he's a rookie. I just want people to know that from the gate. He's going to take his lumps just like Kyler did, just like Jaquan did. But in the end, you're going to end up with a lot better player because he's probably going to get fed into the fire real early and real often. So just know that ahead of time when it comes to him. Tripp, you had something?
Now, sticking with the cornerback room, while Jalen Johnson wasn't in camp for the OTAs, and aside from Stevenson, and I know Terrell Smith has been hurt, what cornerbacks have been, stepping up and filling those shoes?
We've seen Michael Ojemudia actually running with the ones a lot. So he has been the guy. So truth be told, the field that the starters are on, that's the field that I'm watching. I'm not really watching that other field too much. Maybe if some special teams like gunner work is going on, I'll watch the gunner work for a little bit and then peek over on that other field to watch the backups. So I'm mainly watching that field with the starters on it. And for the most part, it's been Michael Ojemudia filling in. And I'm not sure that that's a knock on Kindle Vildor. Again, like when we're talking about reps overall, I wonder if Kindle Vildor is on that other field because they want him taking more reps, putting more stuff on tape rather than Michael Ojemudia, who is taking fewer reps because he's behind Jalen Johnson, because he's behind Kyler Gordon, because he's behind Tyreek Stevenson, et cetera, et cetera. I wouldn't read too much into that, to be honest. But to answer your question, yeah, while Terrell Smith has been out, it has been Michael Ojemudia over there. And I saw one more here. I just want to get to it. Sorry, I'm derailing it a little bit now. Cornelius Squall saying, what's 12 personnel? Because they got Robert Tonyan. They'll do a lot of 12. So basically it just means 2 tight end sets, right? So 12 is shorthand. The first number, so you'll hear like 22, you'll hear 21. It's all right. The first number is the number of running backs on the field. The second number is the number of tight ends on the field. So 12, that means 1 running back, 2 tight ends. If you had 21 personnel, it means 2 running backs, 1 tight end. So that's what that is. That's a really good question because people we throw that jargon around, and that's like some inside. It's not inside baseball. It's inside football. Some inside football talk, but that is what that means. So now you got the code to crack the code when you hear about all the different personnel groupings.
Hey, it's the Nomad Network. We're on Thursday nights on YouTube, and it's all about the education. Alex Shapiro, NBC Chicago. What is it? NBC Sports Chicago?
NBC Sports Chicago, NBC Chicago. We're all one big happy family under the peacock. I'll throw Telemundo in there too. We're all one big happy family.
See, so if you have any questions for Alex before we get out of here, make sure you throw them up in the chat, and we'll address them.
Okay, let me answer this question someone just had to me. No, it wasn't a question. It was a statement. Nomad's been talking about Michael Ojemudia for a while now. Yes, I do think highly of him. I really thought that they got a really good pickup on the waiver wire because the team was kind of in flux and they were turning over the defense from a 4-3 to a 3-4, and he got caught up in that turnover. And it wouldn't surprise me to hear that he's doing well out there right now. How does he look out there when he's on the field?
He looks solid, I wouldn't say he looks bad. I'm not noticing him not making plays. Let's put it that way. Again, truth be told, when Michael Ojemudia is on the field, and I'm sorry, I don't mean this as any disrespect to Michael Ojemudia, but I'm not necessarily watching him as much as I'm watching the other guys. I'll watch Jalen Johnson versus DJ Moore, or I'll watch Kyler Gordon take on whoever's in the slot. But now that you say it, Nomad, when the Bears return, I'm going to tune in a little bit more to Michael Ojemudia. But like I said, I'm not noticing him screw up, which is also good.
That's also good, man. There'll be a couple more guys I'll point out to you, but I know you're pressed for time, and we've already had you a little too long, and I appreciate you, Alex. So whatever else you have on your notepad that you want to share with the fans, they will appreciate it. So shoot them out.
Okay, let's go through some plays of the day. I'll start with today. Play of the day. If you haven't seen it, I think the Bears tweeted it out. Man, Justin Fields looked really sharp in the lower red zone today. Where, like I said, there have been hiccups throughout OTAs. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There have been hiccups. Wouldn't worry too much about it. It's OTAs, it's minicamp, who cares? But today, they looked really sharp. And the play of the day was this dart, an absolute frozen rope to Robert Tonyan, back corner of the end zone. It was kind of this out route where he just kind of went to the back of the end zone and then made a beeline to the corner. Fields made an excellent throw where only Tonyan could get it. And Tonyan also, on his side, made an athletic catch where it's whoa, that is how you score points in the NFL. That's how it's going to happen. And then in the next set, they did a very similar play, and he found Cole Kmet in the exact same spot. It wasn't exactly the same route, but it was the exact same spot, and it was the exact same result. Really good throw, really good catch. Where it's ooh, okay, tight ends in the corner of the end zone. That looked really, really nice. Yesterday, I think the play of the day was DJ Moore, this leaping grab over Jalen Johnson. Now, maybe it goes a little bit differently if Jalen Johnson can play a little bit more physically, because like we said, they're in t-shirts and shorts right now. Right. But at that moment, it was whoa, DJ Moore is a playmaker, and he looks really good. And then they connected again for a deep pass. So that was a couple. Kyler Gordon yesterday. So on Wednesday, had a couple of really nice pass breakups. One, he just fully extended, knocked the ball away from Dante Pettis, and another time caught up, knocked the ball away from Velus Jones. So those were some good moments for Kyler Gordon. And then let's go to day one. Let's flip the notebook again.
They love it. They love it, man. They are loving it. Look at that.
Sure. Listen, I mean, this is what we're here from, right? This is what we're here from. How about this? 13. So that's Tyler Scott. Good catch, extended arms after a weird route. So this was a moment where it was like two guys kind of ran into each other. So that to me was like, okay, somebody did not run the correct route. There was a hiccup. But Scott like recovered, figured it out, found some space. Fields got him the ball, fully extended grab. That looked really nice. And then that was also the day where Terrell Lewis, defensive end, who I don't think anybody was really talking about, really was just blowing up the 2-minute drill. He was, again, guys are in shorts and t-shirts. Guys can't block physically. But he was in the backfield working against Darnell Wright. He just put him in the spin cycle a couple of times. And he essentially single-handedly ruined a 2-minute drill. So that was cool. And then one more thing. I know a lot of people are worried about Cairo Santos. I've been watching Cairo Santos because people are worried about it. I think he's been totally money. There was maybe one day where he had a few hiccups, but for the most part, he's been drilling kicks. I think we saw him hit something near a 50-yarder. I think it was maybe like right at 50 yards. Ever since that early hiccup, and that was early, he's been money. He's been drilling them through the uprights. At least when we're there and when we're watching, no problems for Cairo Santos.
I got one follow-up question as far as the secondary goes. Who is Eddie Jackson's backup?
Elijah Hicks has really been that guy. And this is actually interesting. I'm glad you brought this up because I do have this written down somewhere. I was just kind of skimming through my notes. It's interesting. They are mixing up Eddie Jackson and Jaquan Brisker a little bit more. Now, I'm not saying Eddie Jackson is about to be the strong safety and Jaquan's about to be the free safety. It's probably more, hey, we need you guys to know this, to be exposed to this. If God forbid something happens, we need to find our best duo. And that might involve a guy switching positions. So we have seen Eddie Jackson play a little strong safety, and we've seen Jaquan Brisker play a little free safety. But pretty much the third safety out the gate has been Elijah Hicks.
That is and I've heard, I don't know where I was listening to it at, but I've heard he's been involved in a lot of big plays and on the wrong side of it. But hopefully when they put the pads on, he'll be able to close on balls and actually make plays when he's got pads on. So I always thought highly of Elijah Hicks, and I hope he gets it going, because he's got a lot to prove, because there are guys out there on the free agent market, there are guys on the team that could really challenge him for the job. And so I do believe in him, but I know he's got a lot to prove, and I hope he does it, man. Hey, Alex, man, I'm so thankful, and I know these fans are thankful that you decided to come on here and share everything you have with them. Man, I know they appreciate it, man, and you've been gracious with your time. Great stuff, man, and thank you for spending time with us, man. I know you got to get out of here and go on vacation. Where the hell are you going, man? I just want to know that, man. Where the hell are you going?
I'm actually going on a pretty cool vacation. My mother retired, so she's taking us on like a trip. She's like, I retired. I want to take the trip of a lifetime. So she is taking the entire family on a safari in Zambia. So that is going to be really cool. We're going to be on a safari looking at wildlife. We're going to do some fishing on the lower Zambezi River that I'm really looking forward to. Wow. So fun vacation for the Shapiro family ahead.
Don't forget the sunscreen.
Yeah. For sure. As a person who wears sunscreen every single day, anytime I'm spending an hour in the sun, I will be packing multiple bottles of sunscreen. Don't you worry.
Man.
Well, safe travels. And once again, thanks for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you when you get back. And that's from the heart.
Yo, I appreciate it. Yo, thank you guys for having me again. Like, again, it's really fun talking football with you all. I have a great time, so I appreciate you inviting me back. And yeah, I'll see y'all soon. Don't worry about it.
Man, hey, we'll have it ready for you next time, Alex. Don't worry, man. We sure appreciate you, man. From on the behalf of the fans and Nomad Network, thank you, Alex. We really appreciate you being here.
My pleasure. You all have a wonderful rest of your evening. Have a great rest of your show.
Take care.
Thanks, Alex.
Man.
Yo. You see, here's what just happened. You see, I was chill, right? I was ready for the summer break, looking forward to, when the pads come back on in camp. But now hearing, the notebook from Alex Shapiro and what's happening, I'm getting excited again.
You should be, man. You should.
I'm getting excited again.
Man, dude, I can't stop. I can't help but I just want to work, man. I just want to study. I just want to write notes. And listening to him, listening to Herb, listening to Ken, Dave, all those guys, man, that have come on the show, listening to what they have. I've been writing notes on everybody and what they're seeing on the field. And he's accurate with what everybody else is saying, man. These guys that he's pointing out, that's the first time I heard the Cairo Santos stuff. That was breaking news to me. Glad to hear that.
Now, one thing I didn't want to, correct him on, but we could have, was that Terrell Lewis. There has been somebody touting Terrell Lewis, and I think his name starts with an N and ends with a D.
Terrell, wait, say that again, man.
There has been somebody tout the talents of Terrell Lewis. That the depth chart had him listed as middle linebacker, whereas this person whose name starts with an N and ends with a D has been saying no, he's an edge rusher, and that he can make some noise given the opportunity. And it seems as though Alex just said, granted, they're not wearing pads, but Terrell Lewis has been wrecking shop in the backfield. And that looks good for those that are worried about why Poles hasn't gone out and signed a defensive end.
Well, you can be for sure when I start DMing Alex and I start pointing out guys, once the pads go on, I'm going to leave them alone until the pads go on. When the pads go on, it's going to be certain guys. I'm going to be asking them about depth chart guys, because everybody's they're going to tell you everything on Twitter and on their podcasts about the starters and what they're doing and the rookies and all that. But the depth chart is what I'll be focusing on, like guys like Terrell Lewis, guys like Michael Ojemudia, guys like Donovan Jeter, guys like Jalen Holmes. And we just have a multitude of guys that were picked up along the way last year and during the offseason that people are going to want to know about, you know what I mean? And they're going to get their chances out there. And I won't have to say something to them all the time because they're going to come right on their podcast. Hey, Terrell Lewis looked really good, or Michael Ojemudia, or a guy that I'm really looking forward to hearing about is Donovan Jeter. That's 6'3", 325 pounds that can move like Zach Pickens. And so a guy like that wasn't really in a situation with Pittsburgh, was where he was at last. They don't do that. A 3-4 is not really a penetrating defense. It's more of an underfront, and they kind of do like what Zach Pickens was doing in not Zach Pickens, but Javon Dexter, what he was doing at Florida. They do a lot of two-gapping. And so he didn't get a chance to really be him. In this defense, he'll get a chance to be who he is, a big, solid penetrator. And I can't wait to hear stories about what he's doing on the field. So those are going to be my little wish list players to hear about. That's just a few of them. So I'm just excited, Trip, man. Well, let's get ready to wrap this show up, man. What do you want to say to the fans, man?
First of all, let's give a shout out to the fans. We've been with all night. What up, Plank, King Buka, Mr. Mayhem? What up, Brian, Oliver, J2K in the place to be? Cheers, my boy. What up to Bink, the DJ, Zigga Zigga? What up to who is this? I can't read now. What up to Drew? What up to Patty? Cornelius, everybody that's, asked a question, we hope we get to it. If you want to ask a question or anything, contact us. The chat is there. We also have the scroll of email going across. So make sure you reach out. You share, you subscribe, you like, you hit those notifications, and enjoy, because Nomad Live, Nomad at Night, we're going to be here all summer, during the off season. So, spend some time with us and tell a friend.
And everything Triple R just said, ditto. Ditto, man. We love you guys, man. Listen, you guys got to know this. We won't forget the people that were with us day one. And it's the people here right now. We won't forget, no matter where the Nomad Network goes, no matter where Live goes, Nomad at Night, we won't forget who was here first. And so we love it, man. We love you guys. You guys are the reason why we're here. The show is going to keep getting better. We're going to keep bringing better guests. We're going to get better all the time. We're learning each other. We're getting better with each other. And so you're just going to keep getting better and better content, man. And we are a result of you. So just know that first, man. So keep bringing that energy, guys. We love you, and we'll see you Sunday on Nomad at Night, guys. Peace.